Hey, hello everyone. Thank you for joining another video of Naukri Learning. So in recent days, finding something has become really easier with the help of Google. Also, getting found in Google has become really important for small, medium and large scale businesses. Every company or every individual now wants to rank higher in Google search results. So to optimize the search engine or to use SEOs, there are multiple methods out there. You can go via the paid route as well to get ranked higher. And one such organic method in which you can get your page or content ranked higher is to use good keywords and key phrases. This could include all the trendy keywords in that particular topic that you're writing a content on, or perhaps the important keywords that your competitors are using. So before writing a content, before publishing anything on internet, one must go through an extensive research on the keywords or the topic they might need to choose, and thus proceed after that, so that the visibility of the content and the website becomes really higher in this Google's search result. So in today's session, we are going to find a way via a program in Python to find good keywords from the top search results of Google, or perhaps maybe from a competitor's website. For that, the objective of this entire session is going to create a program which will give us most important key phrases from top Google search results or some competitor's page that we can use in our content to optimize for SEOs. The tools that we are going to use is basically on Python. We will be dealing some sort of web scraping. We will be using a module called Textrank in order to get the most important keywords from a content, and this is an external package that we're going to use. We are going to use some pre-trained models from Spacey library, and for this example I'm going to use PyCharm as my IDE. Then finally we will publish the entire code in GitHub. Okay, so the entire process is going to be around 4 major steps. First would be to get the most top ranked URLs from Google search results. For that, we will use a module called Google Search module to get the top URLs from Google into Python. Then we will scrape the top results content and clean the text. And finally, we will run the Textrank algorithm to get the top keywords from there. The learnings from this session would be, we will have a brief understanding of how to optimize for SEOs. We will have an idea how to build a key phrase extraction using Textrank method in Python. We will deal with basic web scraping, and finally we will be using version controls as well. Okay, and we have added few references links over here which you can also go through before you proceed. Okay, next let us proceed to the code and see how we can establish the step 1 and get the top URLs from Google search result for a particular keyword or topic. Okay, so for that we are going to use a module called Google Search, and we are going to use pandas data frame as well. We are going to use request HTML to fetch out contents and scrape that, and we are going to parse the content via Beautiful Soup. So for that I will just go ahead in my terminal and I will pip install these libraries first. You can directly use this command, or you can go to your interpreter and add these via the graphical method, whichever suits you. Okay, so once you have all this installed, okay, for me it has already been installed, so I will just skip this part. So once you have this installed, you can use the search function from Google Search module. What it will do is it will require a term based on which it will search in Google. Okay, so if you want to search about, say, cars in Google, you will just pass cars as a string over here and pass to this function. Okay, you also need to pass the language in which you want to search. So we are going to search in English, so for that the code word is EN. Okay, and it also needs the number of search results that you want to fetch out. So say if you are going to you are interested in just top 10 results, you can just pass 10 over here. Okay, so it will return a list of URLs or rather a generator of URLs. And once you iterate through that generator, you will have the list of all the URLs that are required. Okay, so I will just roll back this. Okay, so we have defined a function over here. It will take a term from the user, the number of results that they want to fetch in, and by default we have taken language as English. So if you provide any other language than English, then that will be taken up. Otherwise, if you do not pass this argument at all, then English will be taken as a default language. Then over this iterator, we are generating 10 results, or say n number of results that is being set by the user, and we are passing that to a list. And finally we are making a data frame of the list with a column called URL. Okay, so let's see this in action. So for this particular set, we are testing this via creating a data set where we are searching for the latest mobiles in India, and we are just interested in top 5 search results. Okay, so let's debug this code and see what we get. We are debugging till here. That means the program will run till here and give us the output of df as a variable. Okay, cool. So we have received the list of all the URLs which are coming up in the top 5 results when we search latest mobile in India via Google. Okay, so with the first step done, I'll just close this window. We can just proceed to the next step, in which we will scrape out the content of these particular pages and put that in our text data frame. Okay, so I'll remove this part and I will uncomment these lines. Okay, so over here we are defining a function get page content, in which we will go to each URL and scrape the particular URL and return the text of that particular page. Okay, so we have used the HTML session from request HTML module. With that session, we are just creating an object session, and we are using the get method to fetch out the URL which is being passed to this function, and then we are passing that via beautiful soup using HTML parser and returning the text of it. So this entire function, you just need to pass a URL and it will give you the content of that particular page or particular URL in text format. Okay, then we are using the same data frame that we had just created over here. We are using the URL column of that particular data frame and applying this entire function on that via pd.apply. Okay, so what does this do is it takes all the URLs and one after another it runs a for loop internally and applies this function for each particular value of URL, and then stores that back to a column in data frame named as text. Okay, so let's see that in action. I will just again debug this. Okay, so previously, remember, we had one column in which we had all the URLs, and now we are having 2 columns in which the text of that particular page is also been fetched. Okay, right now it's not cleaned at all, so we will proceed to the next step in the cleaning part as well. But this is how we are just scraping all the data of a particular page which has come up in the search result. Okay, and finally I will just store this entire data to a pickle file so that I do not need to scrape the entire time, and we can just use this data from a locally stored copy, and we will just load that again and do a further manipulation locally so that I do not need to scrape particular websites again and again. Okay, so I will just go ahead and run this part. Okay, Okay, so the program has run. So in the scratch file, what we have dealt with is we have found the top links for a particular topic, and then we have stored that in a data frame in a column called URL, and then we have created another function which goes to a particular URL, fetches the content, and returns the content in text format. We have used this function for each particular URL value and created another column text, just opposing the URL column. For each URL, you will have the corresponding text in the text column. Okay, and we finally have stored that into a pickle file so that we can reuse that again in some other code. Okay, cool. So let us jump back to another scratch file to keep things simpler. So over here, we will be dealing with the cleaning of the data and then finally getting the top keywords from the content that we have just scraped. Okay, so for that, first we'll just load the data that we have saved as a pickle file in locally. And let's just do that and inspect the file that we got right now. Okay, so in this data frame, right now we can see that there are multiple new line characters, and we do not want our text to be this messy, and we'll just clean this up a little bit so that it is easier to fit to a model. Okay, so for that we will be using regex pattern matching, which we can directly import from RE module. Over here we have this substitute method in which we can give a particular pattern that we want to match and what we want to substitute that with. So it's more like replace function in a string in Python, but it is much more advanced, where we can customize the pattern that you want to match and replace. Okay, so what we are saying is substitute this particular pattern, which states whenever you find new line or \r characters more than once, replace those instances via a single new line character. Okay, so it takes 3 inputs. First is the pattern that you want to match with, second is the pattern that you want to replace with, and third is the text that on which you want to apply, and finally it returns back the text or as it is, as a cleaned text or a replaced text. Okay, so if it fails to match or anything happens, handling that part in the except part of the code, and then we are finally returning the text. Okay, so let us just apply this function to the text column that we have and see how it cleans up. Okay, so for that we are again using the apply method, and directly we can plug in the function that you want to apply to each particular cell of this column. Okay, so the function has worked, and now we have a much more cleaned list or text than previously. Okay, so I will just close this and move to the next part. So in the next part, we are going to download few modules via which we will be able to get the highest topics or key phrases for a particular topic. Okay, so I will just go to my terminal and I will pip install these particular libraries. We will use Textrank and we'll be using Spacey. Okay, so you can just pip install that, and after that we also need to download a particular model from Spacey library, which is English Core Web small. Okay, so you can just write this command python 3 -m Spacey download en core web sm. Okay, so it will go ahead and download a particular model which is already pre-trained, and we will just tweak the model a little bit, add something in the pipeline, and get the top keywords and the rankings from the text. So you can go ahead and download that. Okay, for me it's already satisfied. Okay, cool. So next what we will be doing is, from the Spacey library we will be loading this particular pre-trained model. But yeah, before that we're going to import that file. We're going to import Spacey, we are going to import Textrank, And in this particular function which is being used, I'll just walk you through how it works. We will load this model and store that as an object in NLP object variable. Then in the entire pipeline of that model, we'll be adding a new step which is called Textrank, which will be coming from this Textrank module. All we need to do is just add this, and then this model is able to process text via this method. Okay, so we will create a doc in which we will pass the entire text that it is getting, and then once we have the doc, it has few attributes via which we can get all the phrases and their respective ranks. So a particular doc object has an underscore method, and that also has an attribute phrases. This phrases is a sort of class which will have again few attributes like text and rank. These are the final outputs that we are interested in. So we'll get a text and a score against that from the particular doc. Okay, and we are just limiting our length of the doc that we are going to receive based on the sorted criteria. We are just going to fetch out top 25 key phrases. So we are checking if the number of key phrases that are in the doc, which is being processed by this particular model in Spacey, is more than what we require. We are just going to cap it till top n number of phrases in this dictionary composing thing. Else we are going to use whatever number of phrases that it is being able to extract. Finally, we will be creating a dictionary composition over here, and we will do a key value pair of each phrases and the rank that it got, and finally put that in a data frame and return it. Okay, so for that we will just use the entire text column that we just got from the previous data frame. After we clean that, we will concat that together and then send that to this particular function that we have just written. Okay, so to concat the entire text, we will just use the entire column. We will transpose that to a list and finally join that from the string method join using an empty delimiter. Okay, and then we are going to pass this entire text to this function, which will give me top 25 key phrases, or we can also pass this parameter if you want lesser or more numbers of it. So we'll just say 29 key phrases sorted via the ranks. We will have a data frame with topic rank, which will have all the key phrases along with the ranks of it. So we'll just debug this entire thing again. Okay, now we have this topic rank. Over here, we are now able to get all the key phrases that are being used in top results from Google. And what are those? So it includes Samsung mobiles, best mobiles, latest mobiles, Realme mobiles, Xiaomi mobiles, as our search results was around latest mobiles in India. So these are the top key phrases that have come up, and these are their rankings. So if I were to write content about a particular mobile brand, I would rather go with Realme over Oppo or Vivo or maybe Redmi, because it has a really high competitive rank, which is being used by most of the competitors, or either it is being ranked higher in SEOs. Okay, similarly Samsung mobiles ranks the highest. Okay, and some other keywords that are appearing is upcoming Redmi mobiles, upcoming Moto mobiles. So we also have a hinge that upcoming keyword is kind of important in writing any content related to mobiles. Okay, so let us go ahead and create a main file in which we will encapsulate the entire flow and run the test. Okay, we'll just close this, and I will create a Python file named as main.py. Over here I will just import all this libraries that I have imported previously. From scratch too, I will import these things. Okay, and then I'm going to import my first step. Then I'm going to import my second step. Proceeding with the third one. And finally, getting the rank, the fourth one. Okay. Now let us run this workflow. So say my topic in which I'm going to write is latest mobiles in India. So first I'm going to call my first function, which will return me a data frame. Okay, so this is about topic. Okay. Once we have the data frame, we need to scrape the pages. For that, we will be doing df.text. It's going to be df url dot apply this particular method. I can just go with 5 results for now. Okay, then we need to clean the text. For that, I'm just going to apply the filter again. And finally, we can get the top 15 results via this function by sending the entire list of text joined via or empty character. And finally, we can just save the result to a CSV or an Excel file. We will just use fstring for this. Top key for just use topic and say .csv is equal to UTF-8 and then say finally print done. Okay, I'll just quickly run this file. Okay, so So once the program has run, you can see that we have now a file, and you can see that we have two columns over here, a CSV file in which we have two columns. One would be the key phrase and the relative score along with it. Okay. So with that, one of our targets to get the top key phrases from a Google search result for a particular topic has been completed. So let us see how we can get the top key phrases from a competitor's website. Okay. So for that, we will just utilize the entire this flow that we have just created. We will, in place of searching for all the contents of Google, we will just give the URL of our competitor's page and check the keywords for that. Okay, so for the next example, in which we will be searching for the top key phrases used by any competitor or any particular website or any web page, I'm going to use one particular link that I found interesting, which says the top smartphones that are getting launched in September 2022. So for that, I'm just going to comment this part out. Okay, and I'm just going to create another line. Get top key phrases from competitors page, and I will just provide the URL. After that, we're going to do similar kind of work that we just did right now. Okay, so we will just get the text from it. Text would be via getting the page content URL. Then we will clean the text by applying text cleaning function. And finally, we will get the results using our key phrase function that we just created. And we will pass the text over here and say I just want top 15 keywords. And finally, we will just store this result in a CSV similar to what we have done previously. Okay, and then we'll finally say print done. So similar to previous result, now we will also have another set of CSV in which we will have all the key phrases which are being used by the competitor's page along with the ranking of it. Okay, so with these two combined, we now will have an arsenal to figure out the best key phrases from the top results in Google search, or we can narrow down our searches to particular competitor's page and understand what all keywords are they using in order to rank in Google results. Okay, so with that in note, this session comes to an end. We will share all this codes and the README doc in the GitHub repository and share the link in the description below. If you have any suggestions or feedbacks for these sessions, or any suggestions in general on what topic we need to conduct the sessions on, please do share your comment in the comment section. If you found this video useful, please give us a like and share this with your peers and friends. And please do subscribe to Naukri Learning for more such videos. Thank you.